In 1770, a 14-year-old girl left Austria to become the Queen of France. Her name was Marie Antoinette, and she had no idea what awaited her. Born into royalty, she was raised not for power, but for marriage. A political pawn draped in silk and expectation. At just 14, she was married to the future King of France. The union wasn't for love, it was for alliance. In the glittering halls of Versailles, Marie was admired, but also watched. Every move became performance. By 19, she was Queen of France. But behind the jewels and gowns, she was isolated, and dangerously naive. Together, Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette ruled a kingdom they barely understood, while the people outside starved. She bore children for the crown, but the public saw her as frivolous, foreign, and unfit. She walked gilded halls, yet the whispers grew louder, calling her the Austrian woman who drained France dry. She had everything, yet felt nothing. In the quiet gardens of Versailles, even the roses whispered discontent. While France bled from famine and debt, she turned pages in silk-draped silence, far from the cries of the streets. Once adored, now despised, Marie Antoinette faced the fury of a starving nation with diamonds still on her neck. While her table overflowed with delicacies, eyes in the shadows burned with hunger and rage. He looked to her for answers. She looked away. And behind them, revolution gathered like a storm. She never said let them eat cake. In truth, she said nothing at all. But the myth took hold, and turned a queen into a villain. Even as the world shifted beneath her, she posed like a monarch from another age, unaware the storm had already begun. In the golden halls of Versailles, loyalty faded. Whispers turned to daggers, and Marie was always the target. Some say she loved him, Count Axel von Fersen. Others say, he was just another scandal she couldn't afford. The same nobles who once praised her pearls now sharpened their words like blades. Versailles had turned against its queen. Dragged from her throne to a wooden bench, Marie faced her accusers. Their minds were made up before she ever spoke. She stood alone. No crown. No council. Just the weight of a broken kingdom pressing down on her name. They called her a traitor. A mother unfit. A monster in pearls. The sentence, death. She wept not for herself, but for her children. The queen was gone. Only a mother remained. They stormed the gates, not for bread, but for vengeance. The revolution had arrived, and it wanted her head. They stormed the gates, not for bread, but for vengeance. The revolution had arrived, and it wanted her head. Stripped of title and crown, she became simply, prisoner 280. No maids? No mirrors? No mercy? Even surrounded by fury, she stood tall. They could strip her of everything, except her dignity. They watched the palace burn, symbols of power turning to ash. The crown was already gone. Fire claimed the rest. Once the most powerful woman in France, now just a prisoner, waiting in silence as history sharpened its blade. She rode through the jeering streets of Paris, not as a queen, but as a warning. Her silence was her crown. October 16, 1793. She stepped from the cart with quiet grace, toward the blade that would end a dynasty. With bound hands and trembling breath, she climbed the scaffold. A queen in rags, walking to history's most brutal farewell. No crown. No mercy? Just a heartbeat left before the blade fell, and the silence that followed. At 12:15 p.m., the blade dropped. The crowd roared. The Queen of France was no more. The crowd erupted. Some cheered. Others wept. The monarchy was over, France had made its choice. History remembers her as a villain, a victim, or a warning. But in the end, Marie Antoinette was simply human.